Good morning and happy Monday. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I'm so used to making the videos for the kids. This is my first one for adults. I wanted to share with you that the kindergarten team has been working really hard to try to get together materials that will be helpful to you. We know how incredibly difficult this transition has been. You're going from just being a parent to also being an educator. And I can only imagine, watching my sister and my nephews, how difficult that is. And I know that often kiddos are better at taking academic risks for their teachers than they are for their parents. So we have been trying to put together materials for you to make it as easy as possible for you to support your kiddo at home. So I want to go through those materials and explain to you what they are and how that you can use them at home. This will come home in the packet on Thursday. You'll probably want to watch this video again once you have those materials in your hand, just to make it a little easier to understand. So here we go. What we did is we worked to really narrow it down to what are the most important things that kindergartners need to leave kindergarten being able to do. And we're calling these the kindergarten priority standards. So your packet will have a paper that looks like this. And we broke it down into these 4 categories: reading, writing, math, and phonics. For reading, well, the thing that we would really want to focus on is not only kids reading a grade level text independently, but also kiddos being able to retell a story after it's been read to them. So what we send home every week in your packet is we send home 2 books that are at your child's independent reading level or just above, which means they're gonna need a little bit of support when they get to tricky words, or they're gonna need somebody to read that book to them beforehand. So every week you'll be getting a video from your child's teacher reading these books aloud. And we encourage you to have your kids watch those videos again and again to the point where they can have their book out and they can read along with you. And then they can read it independently to somebody at home. So these will be coming home weekly. They're super important for kids to read again and again and again, and to watch the videos of us reading it again and again. That's gonna help them be fluent readers. So that's something that comes home every week. Another thing that kids can do with those books that come home is, and this is the second page in your packet, is that they can retell a story. They can read the text again and again. They can visualize the story in their head. They can remember words that the author used, and they can use transitions to keep it moving. They can start by saying, first, this happened, and then this happened, and next, this happened, and finally, what happened. So retelling everything that they heard, read, or they read themselves in a story. And sometimes we use our hands to do that. We tell it across our fingers. First this happened, and then this, and next, and then, and finally. That's something they can not only do with books that have been read to them or that they've read themselves, but also after you've watched a TV show. It's okay to give them screen time, especially in this time. After they've watched a show, have them stop and just retell you everything that happened in that show, and that's gonna help build on the same skill. The next thing that we have in our priority standard packet is writing. We want kids to be able to independently write 2 or 3 sentences without adult support to describe a picture. It can be a picture that they've drawn themselves, or it can be a picture that has been provided for them. So one of the things that we're sending home in our packets every week is we're sending home just pictures that we have photocopied, and then below it some blank lined paper, so that kids can use those pictures or a picture they've drawn themselves, and they can write a couple of sentences to describe what's happening in that story. In your packet, we put some examples of what that might look like. We did it as though we were a kindergartner, so yes, we do really know how to spell the word girl, but for this purposes, we wanted to show you what it would look like if your student did it. So for this picture, you can see that what's going on in the picture has labels. There's grass, there's bear, there's fox, there's tree. So labeling the pictures is the first step. And then thinking of a sentence that would match the picture. So here we've got one day, a girl and some animals had a parade. So when they come to words that they do know how to spell, like and, had, they, those are snap words. Those are words that we've been working on together, and they can use their snap word list to help them spell that. The other words, they're just sounding out the words as they go and writing down the sounds they hear. They do not need to be spelled correctly. We want kids to be independent, sounding out words and writing the sounds they hear and moving on. Next sentence, they played music and danced. So this is an example of what it might look like when a kindergartner had finished writing 2 sentences to describe this picture. You'll notice some of our snap words are spelled correctly and the other words are sounded out. We have a second example in there that looks like this. And it says, I see a robot in the tree. You're gonna notice the word I, see, in, and the are spelled correctly because those are words we've learned in a snap. And the other words have been sounded out. The kite got stuck. Every week we'll be sending home 2 or 3 of these picture with blank lines for kids to practice doing this skill. We'll also be sending home blank paper for kids to write stories about their lives. If they built a tree house, they could write a story about that. If they helped make breakfast, they could write a how-to explaining how to make breakfast. We want to give you lots of opportunities for kids to write. They just need to be writing whatever they want to be writing. If they want to write a pretend story about a pirate, let them do it. Drawing the picture, labeling the picture, and then writing some sentences that match that picture. All right, next in our packets, we also have included, to do with the writing, it also has to do with phonics and reading. It kind of blends together. As we took some of our kindergarten snap words and we sort of pulled out the ones we thought were the most important for them to be able to read and for them to be able to write. So on here we have 25 of the sight words. We also made a flashcards for you that can be cut out. The kiddos can cut it out or you can cut it out. And you can work on a few at a time. You can post them around the house. What we do when we learn a snap word is first we investigate it. We look really carefully at the letters that are in there and the things we notice. Like I notice that this word the has 2 tall letters, T and H, and it has 1 small letter. I also notice that this word has a vowel at the end. And then we say the letters, T, H, E, the, and read the word. We also sometimes will do movements, tall, tall, small, T, H, E, the. These are things that you can do with your kiddos at home. We really want them to be able to read and write these 25 sight words, or snap words. We call them sight words or snap words, both. So this goes with reading, writing, and phonics, so it really covers a lot.